The latest installment of the Mario Party series released not too long ago with Super Mario Party Jamboree, featuring 20 playable characters, plus 2, with a total of 22 playable characters to choose from. Together, we are now going to determine which of the characters is truly the best and which completely miserable. I mean, at the end, everyone decides by themselves, picking usually their favorite character of the roster. But we cannot deny that some have a huge proportion difference compared to others. Yet, they all do share the same hitbox. But what does that mean? Well, that's simple. To make the game fair, the developers made each and every character have the same hitbox. Think of it as a square surrounding your character. Everyone shares that identical square, only that being able to interact with objects or other players. The rest, not within the hitbox, is just for show and isn't really impacting our gameplay. However, that's just in theory, and this is why I'm going to create this tier list. As some fit better in this hitbox as others, it's easier for them to predict where their character is able to fit through and where not. As for some others, it might look like they should be dead already. And now I will do the work for you, figuring out who is the most optimal character to play and who you might should dodge when playing Mario Party. F tier. Here's the worst out of the worst, the hardest to master. Bowser. I'm sorry, big guy, but exactly that is your problem. He's way too huge for the competition. It's neat how they managed the problem with the bad guy by giving life to Imposter Bowser. But let's be real, even though it's funny having Bowser join the party, he really is the perfect fit for the roster. E tier. Slightly better, but still pretty inaccurate for the hitbox we got. Donkey Kong, and he claims the only spot in the E tier. Yeah, similar to Bowser, Donkey Kong also is really, let's say massive. It by far is not as bad as it is for Bowser, but he definitely doesn't represent the Mortals hitbox as well as the upcoming entries. D tier. Now we at least got more than just one appearance. Here the characters being a little jank, but overall still fairly good playable. Rosalina. Being a huge princess doesn't really benefit you too much in Mario Party. Sorry, Rosalina. You might be the goat out of the princesses, but not in this list. Oh, and the dress also doesn't really help. It can be really bad if you want to precisely ground pound, for example. Wario. That's no body shaming, and I don't want to discriminate anyone, but Wario's shape isn't really helpful. So if you don't totally adore this coin hunting maniac, I can just give the advice of not picking him. Don't worry, he won't take it personal. Right, Wario? C tier. Next up are those who are pretty much mid and won't have that much of a deficit. Peach. Peach is a pretty similar take to Rosalina, with the main difference that she actually is smaller, making her fit in the hitbox better. Though again, she wears a dress which makes jumps, and ground pounds in particular, way less predictable. Daisy. Well, there isn't any notable difference in Daisy's and Peach's appearance other than colors, so I just had to put Daisy above Peach. Pauline. Being finally invited to Mario Party, Pauline isn't doing too bad, outscoring all of the more established ladies. Her advantage is that she doesn't wear the same dress as the other three, but she is relatively tall, so that's her biggest downside. B tier. Those are decent picks. Maybe they got some minor flaws, but will feel more natural to get used to. Goomba. The most mean character out of all of them. He got no hands, yet he can somehow participate. I guess no one's being excluded from Mario Party if they are down so bad to partake. Anyway, Goomba looks ridiculous, yet he's not that bad. Only real issue is that he's pretty small, so the exact opposite problem to the previous picks. Boo. It can be a little unusual to get used to Boo floating above the ground, and maybe some minigames don't make much sense, but despite all that, he's doing decent. Just always keep your eyes peeled on Boo's shadow, as otherwise you won't really are able to tell where he is jumping. Oh no, Boo jump scare! Waluigi. Look at him. Do I really need to say much? I think you will figure it out yourself while Luigi is at the spot where he is. You still need some assistance? Fine, but that definitely should explain enough, right? A tier. All of them are pretty similar to each other and are just a tiny bit off to being perfect. Ninja. The part which annoys me the most about Ninja is that he basically has no voice, which makes sense and shouldn't be valued in this list. Well, there you got him in the bottom of the A tier, being a little bit too small, but other than that, he makes a decent fit. Bowser Jr. He's pretty similar to Ninja's appearance, luckily he's not even as close as big as his father. So yeah, well-deserved spot for Bowser Jr. here. Monty Mole. Guess what? He also is basically the same as the previous two. That's an interesting trend we got here in the A tier rankings for sure. Spike. I'll be honest, I placed the rankings 12 to 8 after preference, just because they all have a nearly identical appearance, which seriously makes them all play basically the same. Shy Guy. Exactly. Out of those 8 tiers so far, Shy Guy is my favorite. Anyway, they all got a super similar shape. Let's just move on, shall we? Toadette. Yes, slightly bigger and less stretch to the sides. We got Toadette. That sounded kinda rude. Whatever. Toadette is a fair bet and marks the upper portion of the A tier, along with somebody else. Can you guess who? Toad! Of course, that was a no-brainer. Anyway, both Toad and Toadette are nearly identical, except for their coloring and of course Toadette's hair. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but they seem a little irritating sometimes. Hence why Toad tops out Toadette. S tier. Does it really need an explanation? These are the best go-to options and fit the hitbox nearly, if not completely flawless. Birdo. This pink adorable monster represents the lower end of the S tier, and I really almost have no problems with her whatsoever. Just that one tiny thingy. Yes, her accessoire. I mean, it of course is no major problem, but in the S tier, we need to value each criteria even more. Sorry, Birdo. Yoshi. Being the perfect counterpart to Birdo, we obviously got Yoshi right after her. I mean, he's our most beloved dinosaur and luckily he got shoes. But jokes aside, he's just like Birdo, just without that little cherry on top, which funny enough benefits him and grants him the higher spot. Koopa Troopa. Wow, definitely one of the biggest surprises if I'm being honest. Koopa Troopa though got the perfect conditions for this spot, having a decent height, larger than the average Bowser minions. I mean, Toads and Koopas always have been pretty similar too, just Koopas being a itty bit larger. Well done. If you have been cautious, you already know who will secure the top 2 spots, am I right? Okay, in second place we got my absolute favorite of this list. I give that away already. It's none other than the legend himself. Luigi! What should I say? He got an average looking human appearance. I guess that helped. And being the brother of the person who impersonates this game series isn't a huge disadvantage either. But let's get to the peak of this list. Mario! Well, not surprising. He's in the game's title, so it makes sense. Everyone needs to be compared to the star of the show himself. Every hitbox is basically more or less Mario, not only because he's in the game's title, but also because he's right in between, being neither too large or too small, and got a regular human appearance. So, with that list, I hope everyone will now only play the Mario Brothers, because no one else is even worth to earn a glaze of you. Okay, maybe Koopa Trooper, Yoshi and Birdo also deserve some love, but the others are trash. Okay, I'm just kidding. At the end, you can make every character work. Some are just due to the hitbox a little different to handle, and for most of our roster, the advantages or disadvantages are really minor. I've already told you that Luigi is my number 1 to go with option. Go comment down below who your favorite pick is when playing Mario Party. And when you're right at it, check if you already hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you do, it will grant you the powers and luck of winning your next Mario Party match. Otherwise, I will curse you to lose. Don't risk it. Oh, and if you enjoy Mario Party content, give this video a look. Here I rank the entire Mario Party series. Curious which title runs supreme? Well, there's only one way to find that out. Until soon. See ya!